Today we have a very special author, Miss Ashwini Sannake, who will be talking about her debut book, The Lighthouse Whispers. We'll talk about her book as well as her journey, very difficult mental health days, and inspired her to write this book. So, like, over to you, ma'am. We would like to know about your book, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Kushal. Thanks for inviting me here to talk about my book and my writing journey. So, my name is Ashwini Sannake. I'm the author of the book titled Lighthouse Whispers. So, Lighthouse Whispers is a collection of 21 poems which revolve around the themes of mental health. It's like a journey from darkness to light and covers a lot of themes that we experience along the way. It talks about grief, about taking a pause in today's fast pacing world. It talks about the importance of words in our healing journey. Uh, there are poems about love, heartbreak, and grief. So, yeah, this is Lighthouse Whispers. And basically, it talks about the story of a sailor who is, finding some difficulty, finding a ray of hope to reach the shore and throughout their journey to find a calming shore for them to relax and reflect on their journey or pause for a while. And this sailor is not just any fictional sailor, but it's you, me, and everyone. Because along our journeys, there are moments where we find it very difficult to see the road ahead of us, and we need a lighthouse in our life to guide us. So this is what the poems talk about. And I'm actually a software developer by profession and also a content creator who likes talking about books. I have my Bookstagram page titled Kitabe or Kindle. And last year I decided to write a book, Lighthouse Whispers, and this is my first book. So if you like poetry, if this interests you, please, you can find the book on Amazon, Flipkart, and Bookleaf Publishing's website.
Okay, ma'am, that was nice. Ma'am, what actually inspired you to pursue writing, and like, what is the story behind writing The Lighthouse Whisperer, ma'am?
So basically, as I said earlier, I'm a tech professional for the last 7 years, but I've been a reader all my life. And somewhere the reading took a backseat during studies and work. And during the lockdown, I got back into reading. And I started my page Kitabe or Kindle. I started with writing book reviews first and content creation to share my love for books with people. But somewhere in last year, I was experiencing some sort of a burnout and a low phase in my life. And I took a break from the corporate world to heal. And during this healing journey, I found writing very therapeutic for me. Somewhere unknowingly, I was writing in the last 2 3 years, but during this particular phase, I delved deeper into poetry, and poetry helped me. And there was this ad or promotional message by my publisher, Bookleaf Publishing, which was over all over social media at that time. But I always my self doubt held me back to not pursue this thing. And we always think that maybe we are not good enough to be an author or to actually put a book out there. But I just thought that if you never try, you will never know. You have to give it a shot. And that's how I decided to pursue this journey. I started writing. uh, I took 1 month to write the book. There were poems which I had written in the past and refined it for this book. And somewhere lighthouse was very symbolic towards my healing journey, and as in dedication to that, I decided to name it Lighthouse Whispers. And I tried to tell a story through this book, because I think today we are talking about storytelling. So storytelling is a very important art, and even if it's just poetry, I wanted a story to be told through these poems, like a journey in itself. And yes, that's how Lighthouse Whispers was born.
Okay, ma'am. We are talking about. So, how can how can stories be used to inspire action and bring change in the society, ma'am? What do you feel?
So I think storytelling is a very powerful medium. We as a society, we are surrounded by stories everywhere. The art form differs, but it's there, it's everywhere. Like, even if you take reels for example, there is a story happening in that if done properly. And I think whenever you are reading a book, there are multiple themes happening in that. For example, I was attending this book session about Welcome to Paradise by Twinkle Khanna, where she said that if you have a platform, if you can tell something to the world, then you should. Because we as people, we find meaning in these mediums. So if you can write about something and you can inspire people to talk about it, to open a room for conversation on a topic, it is actually very good. For example, I'll tell you Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig. So when I was going through my difficult mental health days, I didn't have people around me who had gone through something similar. But reading that book, I felt that there was a person who said that, hey, I'm here. This is my story. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to listen. And there was a relatability factor. So, not just about the things within, but as a world, as a society, there's so much going on right now in the world right now. And we need to talk about these topics. We need to know more about these topics. And there are multiple books available from authors all around the world who are trying to tell something about that topic. It's just we need to pick the right book and educate ourselves, because knowledge is power. But mm, through storytelling, if done properly, it can leave a very long lasting impact on people, and it can educate them better to know about a lot of things.
Okay, ma'am. So, like, you think that stories can shape our understanding of world, like what we understand world is basically, and what stories tell us about.
Yes, definitely. So I think all of us people, we are living, breathing storybooks, I feel. Or even if you just step out and you observe around, there is a story going on. Even if you observe a construction site, you can see things happening there. There are certain things happening. And I think, for example, you said about understanding the world. Now, these days, there is K drama going on, there's anime. People are learning Japanese by watching anime. People are learning Korean by watching K drama. Even growing up, I watched a lot of American sitcom and a lot of my other friends, and we incorporated their language, their lingo, their slangs in our day to day conversations. It left an impact on us. So I think you don't need to just travel. Yes, traveling is important, but if you cannot travel, just reading something. For example, if you want to know more about the Japanese culture, you pick up a Japanese literature book. Doesn't matter if it's a historical one or a contemporary fiction, because even when academically professors explain to us using real life examples, and through these stories, these writers, they explain things about their culture in very nuanced way. And this is a very powerful example, because we get to know so much about other culture, about things happening in other side of the world. Now this was just about the knowledge part, but I think when you are consuming art in any form, especially books, it also makes you a better person. It inculcates empathy and kindness towards you, towards these fictional characters, or maybe a real life story. But it does make you a better human being. You start thinking from the other person's perspective. So, not just knowledge wise, but even as a human being, to empathize with someone, to develop that kindness. I think stories definitely bring out that emotions in you, and even makes you question about how can I be a better person.
Yes, ma'am. Talking about characters, ma'am. Like, what's is there a difference in the impact? Like there are two kinds of stories, like personal stories and then we have fictional and functional stories. So is there a difference impact of fictional stories and personal stories?
So I think it again depends on the writer as well, because some writers they can write fiction with such conviction that you feel it very deeply. But I was just having this conversation with another reader friend last weekend. We were talking about The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and he said that he felt very deeply about the book. So he mentioned it as, at least in a fictionalized book, even if it's a murder mystery or a thriller or crime, I know that this is not real, but here this is something that has happened to her, and that makes it even more painful to understand, to empathize with her. So when someone is talking about their real personal journey, or it is about memoir, or probably a book based on true crime events, even that, you know that this has happened in reality, and that's why it hits you even more. And it even brings forward conversations like this is happening in society. If you are reading a true crime based book or watching a series on that, for example a documentary on Netflix, you actually know that this has happened in this part of the world, and how can we as a society do something about it? Or maybe a memoir based on a famous person's life, a rags to riches story, that inspires you that okay, if this person can do this, then even we can be, do something about it in our personal journey. So this can be impactful. And for stories which have, emotional background, and they come from a personal point of view, like my book, so there we put ourselves in that person's shoes, and that's why we feel it even more. The emotions hit you harder.
Yes,
That's what I feel.
yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, like, what according to you is the future of the art, the art of storytelling? Like, what is its future?
So I think first, before talking about the future, I'll just like give talk about the history of storytelling. So I
Yes,
think in our Indian culture, we have so many mythological stories. We have Ramayana, we have Mahabharata, and even we have so much more. And even if you take an example closer home, we grew up listening to stories from our grandparents, and these were very simple folk tales, probably explaining a concept like why honesty is the best policy. So this storytelling, maybe the formats have changed, but people are still telling these stories. Like these stories are being told, and I think storytelling will be there no matter how much AI or other technologies come in the picture. We can use it to enhance the way we convey it, use it as a addition. We shouldn't even use it like entirely to write something, because obviously like you also need some emotional intelligence while creating and while conveying these stories. And I mean, not just in terms of books. You have stand-up comedies, there are poetry open mics, there are theaters, there are plays. Irrespective of the format, I think storytelling will always be there, because every single time, no matter how fast paced this world gets, people will always, pause for a while, and they will try to find themselves. They will try to seek answers to the problems in their life. And these stories probably they will provide some comfort after a tiring day, or probably, they will give you solutions which you didn't know you needed. So people will always be looking for answers in their lives. And I think stories are where we will find that solution, or we will find that comfort. So storytelling is obviously here to stay. Now I also perform at some open mics. I listen to poets, and the way they talk about very difficult topics, they ask uncomfortable questions through their art, and people are going and attending these events. Even stand up comedy, now people are attending a lot of stand up comedy events as compared to earlier. because they want to listen to someone narrating a story, maybe even if it's comical, even if it's for entertainment or relief. People are watching a lot of OTT, so people will be drawn to stories always. It's just the way we narrate it, it's just the format that we are choosing to convey it and doing it the right way. That will keep evolving and changing in the future.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very ma'am. What message you would like to give our viewers? Like, what advice or what kind of message you want to deliver to our viewers?
So, in terms of storytelling, storytelling is obviously an art or a tradition which is here to stay. But to be better storytellers, we also need to be better consumers of it. So, read if you want to write, read more, because I think there are so many books available on so many topics out there, but we are what we consume and we are what we create. So we need to equip ourselves better with that knowledge. We need to develop our level of understanding. And books is like an ocean, like reading books is like an ocean of knowledge. So we need read more, read better, and don't go by the recommendations of what's popular and what's not. Keep searching, keep finding that book until you find that right one that connects with you, that connects with what you want to convey to the world. And I think even not just writing, but storytelling can be done through other mediums also. So consume better content to be a better storyteller. I think that is the most important advice. And uh, self doubt, I think self doubt holds back a lot of people. But if you never step out, you won't know what the outcome is. There are these series of books by Austin Kleon, Steal Like an Artist, Show Your Work. So I think that is a very helpful tool for any person who wants to dive into storytelling or any other creative form. So yeah, just be confident, keep writing, keep practicing, and consume better content.
Thank you, ma'am. Talking about ma'am, what is your favorite book and why, ma'am? And why you liked it a lot?
Okay. So it's very hard to pick a favorite book, but I will give you certain recommendations. So I think Courage to Dislike is one book which I really love. It is very difficult, but I think everyone should read it at least once in their life. And Four Agreements is a very easy read, that is by Don Ruiz. Four Agreements is also a very helpful read. It is very easy to read, and I think everyone should read it. Everyone should put those four agreements on their sticky tab somewhere on their work desk or study desk to evolve better. If you are in the creative field, Steal Like an Artist is a very helpful read. And Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig is a very personal favorite of mine. And if you ask me about fiction, there are a lot of books which uh, I love, and it's very hard to pick. But these two, three books are, I think, something that everyone should read.
Thank you, ma'am.
And
Thank you.
yeah, for more book recommendations, you can follow my page, Kitabe or Kindle. I keep recommending and reviewing books on that platform.
Thank you, ma'am. For sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for very insightful session. I think
Thank you
it's
so much for having me.